So, very interesting topic has been chosen for this short-term program, which is called Recent Trends in Artificial Intelligence Techniques with its application. So nowadays, for our day-to-day application also, we are using this artificial intelligence technique for various engineering applications. So since I belongs to the Department of Electrical Engineering, so I will consider the application of this here intelligence techniques in the field of power system. So basically I'm working in the field of state estimation technique in power system. So before going to discuss about the application of this multi-objective optimization algorithm uh, in the field of power system, so let me first introduce about what do you mean by state estimation. Okay, so basically I'm working in the field of state estimation in power system. So first of all, I would like to introduce about this area, and then I will discuss about the application of this multi-objective optimization algorithm in the field of optimization in the field of power system. Okay, so these are my presentation overview. First, I will introduce about the power system state estimation, and then what motivates me to carry out my research in this field, and what are the contributions I have made using this optimization technique in the field of power system in my area of research, and then some conclusions I will present, and some research article also I have published from this work. So I will show you that. Okay, and references. So power system state estimation. Power system state estimation. Okay. Is it? Am I audible clearly? Is it okay? Am I audible? Please respond me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. So first up, what do you mean by power system state estimation? So basically, as you know that power system is a very large interconnected system, a very complex and large interconnected system. So therefore, and also since the power system is dynamic in nature, so therefore the real-time monitoring of the power system is a great challenge for the power engineers. Okay, for example, in a power system, as you know, that various kinds of actors, for example, your different kinds of energy storing devices and active elements, energy storing devices, renewable energy resources. Okay, and also there is a frequent changes in the network configuration. For example, in the distribution network, basically we are doing the network reconfiguration to minimize the real power loss in a system. Okay, so because of which the system is getting more and more complex, largely interconnected and dynamic in nature. So therefore, real-time monitoring of a power system becomes a great challenge for the power engineers. Okay, so as you know that in a power system, power system state estimation is the heart of the energy management system, which plays the most important role in the power system studies and analysis. Okay, so and for the monitoring, basically for the monitoring purpose, state estimation plays the most important task. So that is why it is called the heart of the energy management system. So how I have used the various kinds of optimization technique, hybrid optimization technique in the field of power system state estimation, that I am going to discuss. So beforehand, I must have to have some clear idea and to give a clear idea to all of you about what is this state estimation. Okay, so that it will help you to understand how I have utilized those kind of optimization algorithm, multi-objective optimization algorithm in this field. Okay, basically it is a data processing algorithm which processes the raw data to produce the reliable database. As you know that in a power system, we are collecting the measurements from the grid, like voltage measurement, voltage magnitude measurement at different parts of the network, like branch currents in lines, real power flow, reactive power flow. So these kind of measurements we are getting from the grid, and it is collected at the control center, so that we can process these measurements to estimate the states. Because since we are getting raw measurements, whenever you are measuring something, the measurements are, we are not getting the measurements which is 100% correct. Those measurements are contaminated with some noise, with some error. So since we are processing the noise data, the unreliable data, to estimate the states, so that is why we need a statistical criteria. Okay, so that is why we are looking for the estimation technique. We are estimating the states from the available measurements at the grid center. What are the measurements coming from the grid, which are noisy measurement, which are unreliable data, which are contaminated with noise. Those kind of information we are processing to produce reliable data. Okay, so in a power system, we need what? We have to find out what is the voltage magnitude and angle at all parts of the network. Then only we can calculate the real power flow, reactive power flow, line current, branch current, losses, everything. To know the status of the network, you must have to know the state variable of the system. For example, suppose let us consider a mechanical system. If you know if you want to know how much force is applied to that body, then you must know what is its displacement and velocity. Okay, so that is why velocity and displacement plays acting as a state variable, because if you know that, then only you can calculate what is the force applied to it. So similarly, in a power system, if the voltage magnitude and angle at all the buses are known to you, then only you can analyze the healthiness of a power system, whether the system is healthy or not. Okay, so for analysis purpose, for analyzing anything in a power system, you must have some idea about what is the voltage magnitude and angle at all the buses. Buses is nothing but the node point in a system. Okay, so therefore we need to know the voltage magnitude and angle at all the buses to find out the rest of the quantity of interest in a system. So that is why voltage magnitude and angle at a bus is called as state variable. And what we are doing here in estimation, we are estimating the state variable using some statistical criteria. That is why it is called state estimation. That is why it is called power system state estimation. In power system, our important task is to estimate the voltage magnitude and angle at all parts of the node, at all the nodes of the system. Okay, so that is why it is called power system state estimation. And basically, it is nothing but a digital processing algorithm which processes the raw data and build up the reliable database. Okay, since we are getting the raw data from the grid as a measurement, and since these measurements are highly noisy in nature, so this is the only data we have. So we have to process it to estimate the states more accurately. So that accuracy depends on how much accurately you are, how efficiently you are able to filter out the noise contaminated with the measurements. So that is nothing but the estimation, power system estimation. And it is basically based on the mathematical relations between the system state variables and available measurements. In estimation, only the mathematical relation between the measurements and the state variable is there. Okay, and it brings a mathematical relations between these two quantities. And the main function of the estimation is to minimize the error, because how accurately you are estimating the state, that will justify your how much efficient the method you are using for it. Okay, so the efficiency of the method, the performance of the method, you can evaluate based on how much accuracy of result it is providing, how accurately it is providing the state variable. Okay, so these are the important points I have collected, because of which we are going for the state estimation in power system. Due to limited number of measurements, actually in a power system, you won't find measurement devices situated at all parts of the network. You won't find, because very high, so it will make the system more costlier. So you cannot place meters at all parts of the network. Okay, so that is why we are choosing, we are selecting at which part of the system, of the power system, I will place the meters, so that I can improve the accuracy level and I can minimize the cost, and which is my objective of this presentation. Okay, and also sometimes transmitting the data from the grid center or from the field to the control center. At that time, there is a chance that we can lose some information. Okay, because of communication problem while transmitting the data, there is a chance that we may not receive that information which is supplied from the grid to the control center because of this communication problem. Okay, and the interference like this. And also for the real-time monitoring, alarming, and control of power distribution system, transmission and distribution system, we are using estimation technique. Okay, and also to estimate the unmeasured quantities, the quantities which you are not measuring using the devices in a system, that also we can able to estimate more accurately. And also it is used for the detection of bad data measurements and for economical constants. Okay, so these are the reason why we are using state estimation in transmission and distribution system. Okay, and these are the basic operational function of a state estimator in a power system. And basically in a power system, as a input, we are receiving as network parameters such as line parameters, resistance, inductive reactance, how the network is connected. Such kind of inputs we are getting from the grid. Okay, and system measurements also. System measurements we are getting from the measurements where we have located the measurements. You are getting that measurements in terms of voltage magnitude, real power flow, reactive power flow, and pseudo measurements. Okay, and pseudo measurements are nothing but the historical data. Sometimes you can also retrieve the data from the history, what you have, what is there in the history. Okay, that means some days before how much real power was flowing in this branch. So those information will be stored. Okay, so you can get it from there. But remember one thing, that the noise associated with the pseudo measurements is too much high. Okay, so that is the drawback of using pseudo measurements. And various functions are these are the input information given to the estimator, and the various functions carried out by these estimators are network topology processing. It has to find out how the network is connected, because that is the most important task. It has to first it has to do. Okay, network topology, that means we must know how the network is connected, how the power system is connected, how many buses are there, how the lines are connected. Okay, and that is nothing but the network topology processing. And then observability analysis, because for the estimation we must keep a minimum number of measurements. Otherwise, if you are providing insufficient measurements, okay, then the state estimation algorithm will not converge. Okay, so for the convergence case, so we must need a sufficient number of measurements. So suppose sufficient number of measuring devices are not available in the grid, so then we are taking the help of pseudo measurements. That means we are retrieving the data from the history. Okay, so and we are using that as a measurement in the system. Okay, and then we are going for the estimation algorithm, state estimation technique, state estimation algorithm we are using for the estimation purpose. And this state estimation algorithm is nothing but a statistical algorithm based on the statistical criteria. Okay, it is working based on the statistical criteria. So various kinds of statistical criteria we are using for the estimation purpose. So I will tell you what are the statistical criteria we are using and which one is the best one. Okay, and then after that, the most important task is performed by the estimator, which is called bad data identification and processing. Sometimes while sending the information from the grid to the control center, there is a chance that we may send some bad information. For example, suppose in some line 5 ampere, suppose 100 ampere current is flowing, but by mistakenly or due to communication failure, I have told 100, but somebody has recorded at the control center it is 200 because of any mistake. Suppose he has done that mistake. So that is called bad information, a huge error at the input end. So that is called bad measurement. So we need to, before after estimating, we need to check it whether some bad informations are there or not. So that is why state estimation algorithm plays a very important role in identifying and detecting the bad information which are present in the input side. Okay, so these are then after that the estimation result to human and machine interface. Okay, so they are the basic function of the estimation in power system. And this is the distribution energy management system. Okay, that means how you got the different kinds of measurements from the grid, like real measurements, virtual measurements, pseudo measurements. They are the different kinds of measurements which are available at the grid center. And those measurements we are utilizing to estimate the state. This is your state estimation. And also we are processing network state and measurement variance. That means how much noise is associated with each measuring devices. Okay, so those kind of information we are processing for the estimation purpose. So after estimation, what are the things we are doing here? So the various kinds of things like various control, because rest of the power system analysis is carried out after estimation. That means after estimating the state only, we are going for the control actions, we are going for the protection, we are going for the modeling, system modeling and all. Okay, so like automatic voltage control, load circuit breakers, capacitor control, optimal power flow analysis, contingency analysis. So other kinds of thing is carried out after estimating the states. So that is why repeatedly I'm telling that a state estimation plays the most important, or the energy, it is the heart of the energy management system. Okay, so they are the classification of the state estimation. And why I'm discussing all this, because after giving some input, then only I will go for the actual work what I've done. So it will be easier for all of you to get some knowledge about it. Okay, basically it will be more helpful for the electrical those who are belongs to electrical department. Okay, so classification. So again, it is classified. State estimation in power system is classified into two parts. One is static state estimation and dynamic state estimation. And static means we are receiving the information at a particular snapshot of, we are taking a particular snapshot of information at a particular instant of time. Okay, but dynamic means what? It is a dynamic process. Means every instant of time we are processing the data, and at that same moment, what is the new information came to you. So that information along with the previous information, we are processing it for the estimation of the states for the next time instant. So that is why it is called dynamic state estimation. So various kinds of methods are there for the dynamic estimation, dynamic state estimation. Okay, and for static state estimation, we are using traditional methods and non-traditional method. And under traditional method, three statistical criteria we are using. Just now I have discussed to you what are the statistical criteria we are using for the estimation purpose, and which is nothing but your maximum likelihood criteria, weighted least square criteria, and minimum variance criteria. So these are the three statistical criteria we are using for the estimation purpose. And also you can use non-traditional methods such as evolutionary algorithms. Okay, that's why I'm discussing this slide. Why I'm discussing? Because the short-term program is basically based on artificial intelligence technique. Okay, so here by using some evolutionary algorithm, or by using some meta heuristic algorithm, you can also estimate the states more accurately. Okay, so this can be a research area for all of you. Okay, so here at this point also you can work at how to utilize some efficient evolutionary algorithm for the estimation of system states. Okay, so basically my work is based on traditional methods. I'm using statistical criteria for the estimation. Okay, so this is basically we are using weighted least square approach for the estimation of system states, and it is nothing but the minimization of the weighted sum of the square of the difference between the measurement values and the actual value of the quantities. Okay, and the measurements what we are getting from the grid, mathematically it can be expressed as z equals to h of x plus small v. You can see in this slide I have written how to model the measurements, because we are dealing with measurements, because estimation is nothing but the mathematical relationship between measurements and the available measurements and your state variables. So that's why you need to establish a relation between these. How to establish a relation between the measurements and the state variable? That is nothing but your estimation. Okay, so therefore mathematically it is written as z equals to h of x plus v, small v, where z is the measurement vector, h of x is nothing but the nonlinear functions of measurements, h of x representing the equations relating the measurements to the state variable vector x. For example, suppose you are measuring real power flow in a power system at a branch, then that real power flow is the function of state variables, voltage, magnitude, and angle. Okay, so that real power flow is nothing but your h of x, and x is what? State variable, voltage, magnitude, and angle. Obviously real power flow, reactive power flow, losses, and all these are depend on state variable, voltage, magnitude, and angle. Okay, so h of x plus v. This v is what? This v is the small Gaussian noise associated with each measurement. In the beginning of the lecture, at the starting of the lecture, I have told that noise measurements are not the actual thing you are measuring. You are not measuring the actual quantity. You are that measurement, what you are getting through the measurement device, these are contaminated with some noise. Noise is associated with it. You need to filter it out. So how much what efficient methods you are using to filter out the noise, that represents the efficiency of your method. Okay, so that is why that noise is mathematically, it is modeled as small v, and it is nothing but a Gaussian distribution function. And basically we are assuming that the noise associated with each measurement is distributed normally, and which follows the Gaussian distribution. Okay, so that is why this mathematical model will help you in generating the measurements using simulation techniques. Okay, so that is why this relation is much more important to understand. Okay, so this is the main objective of the WLS method. We are minimizing the weighted sum of the square of the difference between the measurement and the actual measurement value of the quantity. So Zi minus h of x. So we are minimizing this function by using the statistical criteria, which is nothing but your WLS method, weighted least square criteria. So these are the mathematical expression, mathematical things which are there. So every time, since we are solving a nonlinear equation, so yes, every time, so that's why this method is just iterative method. So as all of you know, to solve a nonlinear equation, we have to follow an iterative approach. Okay, so starting from a initial guess. Okay, so same thing we are doing here also. This is a iterative process we are using for the solution to be converged. Okay, so finally we are able to estimate what is x, and x is nothing but the voltage, magnitude, and angle at each bus for what the problem I have considered in this case. Okay, and W is the covariance matrix, and W weights associated with each measurement, how much weight, how much error is associated with each measurement. That error is defined in terms of weight. Okay, and W represents the covariance matrix, and which is a diagonal elements, diagonal matrix. Covariance matrix is a diagonal matrix. And one more thing, why this is a diagonal matrix? Because I have assumed the measurements are independent with each other. No measurements are depending with each other. So since the measurements are independent with each other, so that is why this W matrix is a diagonal matrix. Okay, and sigma is the variance associated with each measurement, and every iteration we are updating this x value, as you know, all of you, what will be the iterative approach. Since this is a iterative process, we are initializing the state variable, then we are following these steps to estimate the states more accurately. And here capital H represents your Jacobian matrix, the same like what you have studied in the load flow analysis of a power system by using Newton's Raphson method. And capital G is your gain matrix, okay, which is nothing but H transpose W inverse H. Why I'm telling these things will be utilized at the time of application. Okay, so basically what I have discussed, that is our power system state estimation. And but I'm working in distribution system state estimation, because distribution system state estimation working in a distribution system itself is a huge task. Okay, lots of challenges we are facing at the distribution level, but not at the transmission level. Transmission system is good enough. It is fully established, but real problem we are facing at the distribution level. So that is why this challenge I accepted and did some research in this field, and which is nothing but, as you know, that the distribution system have been subjected to increasingly integration of renewable sources and frequent changes in the network configuration, which are creating new problems of monitoring, control, and reliability issues in smart grid environment. Okay, and because as you know, since in case of a distribution system, now we are all depending on renewable sources, and we are doing a huge research for the production of huge power through the renewable sources. Okay, and because of the injection of renewable sources into the distribution network, there is some unwanted cases which are arising, which is called a bidirectional power flow. bidirectional power flow because of the injection of renewable sources in a distribution system. That means power will flow from load to source, back to the source. Okay, and which results exacerbation of voltage unbalance in a distribution network, because of which voltage magnitude, voltage phasors and angles are getting disturbed in a system. So that is nothing but your exacerbation of voltage unbalance in a distribution network. Okay, and also, as you know, the configuration of the network is changing continuously. So because of which the monitoring of the distribution system becomes a great challenge for the power engineers. Okay, so therefore you need to search for different kinds of technique which will help you in monitoring and control of the distribution system, and which is the main objective of this work which I had done. To resolve this issue, what we are facing in terms of monitoring and control, to resolve this issue, what we have adopted meter placement techniques, where we have to suitably locate the meter so that the cost can be decreased, cost can be reduced, and accuracy can be improved, estimation accuracy can be improved. So this itself is a optimization problem. So this is the way we designed the problem, that where you have to situate, where you have to locate the meters in a distribution system, so that we can minimize the total configuration cost of the network, and also we can improve the accuracy of estimation. We can improve the accuracy of estimation of the distribution system. Okay, by using the estimation algorithm. Okay, so that is the whole objective of this work. And as you know that there are some difference between the transmission and distribution system. Distribution system is having some peculiar characteristics. So because of which it becomes more challenging task for the power engineers to do huge research in this field, to overcome all the issues which are there in the distribution system. So because of these are the peculiar characteristics, like your distribution system is radial in nature and weakly meshed, few loops will be there, and it is an unbalanced system, and a high R/X ratio in distribution system. Resistance of a line is more than the reactance, but which is not the case in case of a transmission system. So therefore, what are the methods we are using for the transmission system state estimation that directly cannot be used for the distribution system? This is the problem we are facing. So directly the load flow technique what we are using for the transmission system, directly we cannot use for the distribution system because of these issues, because of a high R/X ratio. Your algorithm won't converge. There is a issue related to convergence of the algorithm. Okay, so which is the most important task you have to do. If algorithm won't converge, then how you will analyze the power system, which is impossible. So that is why we are doing research in distribution system, and also in distribution system very limited number of real-time measurements are available. You won't find sufficient measurements will be available in the distribution system. You won't find that. Very limited number of measurements will be there. Very rarely it will be there at the control center. Sorry, it will be there at the substation or the lines which are connected to the substation, and rare places few meters. That's all. Okay. So using pseudo measurements, we are processing the estimation technique. So that is why it is a great challenge for all of us how to improve the estimation quality, estimation accuracy in case of a distribution system. Okay. And because of the lines are short and non-transposed, I think electrical student they can understand what we mean by why the lines are short and non-transposed and active nature. And since many are now doing research how to inject active renewable sources in the distribution system, so the system becomes active in nature, and it creating lots of problem in the system also. Okay, so because of this reason, what are the methods we are using for the transmission system state estimation? What is the algorithm? What is the steps we are using for the transmission system state algorithm, transmission system state estimation that cannot be directly used for the distribution system? So that's why for the distribution system, which is a low voltage system, so what we are using, another methods we are using, which is called a branch current based state estimation algorithm. But in case of a transmission system, we are using node voltage formulation we are using. That means voltage magnitude and angles of each buses are treated as a state variable. But in this case, what we are using, branch current each branch, because in a distribution system, lines will be there, number of lines, it is an interconnected system, lines will be there. So in each line, how much current is flowing, current magnitude and angle is treated as a state variable. This is the difference. Because if you take voltage magnitude and angle, the algorithm is not converging. because of some peculiar characteristics of the distribution system. Okay, so therefore we are using branch current based distribution system state estimation algorithm at the distribution level for estimation purpose. Okay, and the algorithm is these are the mathematical expressions related to the state estimation in distribution system, and this is the algorithm that we are using. Estimation technique we are using, no doubt. WLS method we are using, but here the variables what we have chosen is branch current magnitude and angle, not voltage magnitude and angle, because with the help of branch current magnitude and angle, you can also estimate the rest of the quantity of interest in a system. Okay, like a real power flow, reactive power flow, losses, everything you can calculate once you know the branch current magnitude and angle at all the lines. Okay, so that is why this method is called branch current based state estimation algorithm, and the other steps. Okay, already I explained how you got this matrix, gain matrix, and this matrix how you got in the WLS method, and the same procedure we are using, but the variables are different. Okay, and every iteration we are updating the state variable value so that it has to satisfy the convergence criteria. So the moment it will satisfy the convergence criteria, then the estimation is successful. That means we will estimate the states. Okay, and after that we will go for the calculation of the rest of the quantity of interest in the system. And here you see different kinds of techniques we are using for the estimate for the improvement of state estimation accuracy. So out of which I am using the DSSC based on meter placement technique. Meter placement technique I am using. We have to find out the suitable location of the measurement devices in a system so that we can improve the accuracy, because the location of the measuring devices also affecting the accuracy of the estimator. Okay, suppose for example, suppose I will consider 10 meters. 10 meters I will give it to you, and you can place at any place, and you see what is the estimation. Same 10 meters, suppose you will take to substitute at other parts of the network, you will get different results, because the location of the measuring devices in a system also affecting the estimation accuracy. So that is why we are developing the optimization algorithm to suitably find out where I should place the meters in a system so that I can improve the accuracy level. Okay, so that is the, and various other kind of research are also going on, which will, for the electrical students, for the belongs to power system, it will be really helpful for them to carry out research in other areas like DSSC based on conventional WLS approach, DSSC based on load modeling, DSSC based on computational intelligence and a heuristic technique. Basically this here in third point also you can work. You can use different kinds of computational intelligence techniques and a heuristic technique for the estimation purpose, and multi-area distribution system state estimation, and the last one is where I am working. So already I explained about this slide why you are going for the meter placement technique, and different kinds of measuring devices are available in power systems, such as phasor measurement units, intelligent electronic devices, smart meters. Okay, so they are the different kinds of measuring devices which are there, and we are using these smart meters. These are very accurate in nature, these measuring devices, and very costly also. These devices are also very costly, so you are not allowed to place at all parts of the network you can place PMO. No one will allow you, because very fundamental things based on which the power system is working is the cost and the quality. We are running the power system more economically, as well as we are supplying quality power. So these two things, economic operation of the power system and quality of power you are supplying, these two things plays the most important role in whole power system. Okay, so that is why these two things, for any work in power system, these two things you have to take care about, whether you are supplying quality power or not, whether you are supplying with a limited cost or not. Okay, so that itself is a challenge for the power engineers. Okay, so already I discussed about what motivates me to carry out research in this field. Already I think I explained that quality of estimation suffers because of large number of pseudo measurements. I told you, because these measurements are retrieved from the historical data. Okay, so history means noise associated with it will be very high. 50% error will be there. So how you will process a measurement which is having 50% error? So that itself is a great challenge for the power engineers. but we do not have any other option, because since a limited number of measuring devices are present in the system, so to make the algorithm to be converged, we need minimum number of measurements. So that minimum criteria can be satisfied by taking the help of pseudo measurements, which are readily available with you with free of cost. You can take the help and you can draw the estimation. Okay, so that is why this itself is a huge task for us to solve, how to utilize pseudo measurement for the better estimation. Okay, and a very less number of real measurements, and therefore we have to design some efficient algorithm, optimization algorithm. You have to model this problem as a optimization problem, and to what means what you have to so that suitably you can place the meters at appropriate location for the better estimation purpose. Okay, and so that you can go for the rest of the quantity of interest in a single system, and also we can face the challenges produced by the renewables in the presence of renewable sources. Okay, and that can be resolved by using this technique, meter placement technique. If diseases are present, then where we have to place the meters, that itself is a great challenge for us. Okay, so these are the points I have collected, which motivates me to carry out my research in this field. Okay, so this is the work I have done. I want to introduce that optimal allocation of measurement devices for a distribution system state estimation using multi-objective hybrid PSO Creel-Hode algorithm. Okay, so here you will find the application of the optimization technique, meta heuristic technique. How we have utilized this technique in the field of a power system. That means how we have utilized this algorithm, this hybrid algorithm, multi-objective hybrid algorithm, in finding the location of the measuring devices for better estimation of the system. Okay, so already I introduced about this problem, that it is a new that means we have, in this case we have utilized a hybrid PSO Creel-Hode algorithm, and I will tell you why we have hybridized. Because without any reason, just like that, we cannot hybridize two algorithms. Okay, so we must understand the physical essence, the significance of why we are going to hybridize these two algorithms. Okay, and also in this case, since it is a multi-objective optimization algorithm, objectives are more than one. Okay, and the objectives considered in this problems are these all are minimizing functions, such as you have to minimize the total configuration cost. Means what, you cannot place randomly the meters at all parts of the network, no doubt, because if you increase the number of meters, your accuracy of estimation will improve, but simultaneously your cost will increase. But high cost system I do not want. I am a person who wants to work in who wants to run the power system more economical way. I do not want to invest more. I want to run the system in a very more economical way. So that is why cost is a biggest criteria in this optimization problem. You have to minimize the cost, and each measuring device's cost is not a small amount. It is a huge amount. So cost of a phasor measurement unit is in some lakhs, and grid is a highly interconnected grid. So that is why if you place the PMO at all parts of the network, the system cost will be very high. Okay, so therefore we are minimizing the total configuration cost. We are also minimizing the average relative percentage error of Bose voltage magnitude and also Bose voltage angle. Okay, because for estimation purpose, voltage magnitude and angle are the two important things. Because how accurately you are estimating the voltage magnitude and angle, that will justify your technique, efficiency of the technique. How much efficient your technique, what you are utilizing for the estimation purpose each.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Hello. Yes,
sir, may I interrupt you?
Yeah, sir. Please.
Sir, I would like to know more about PSO algorithm, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. I'm going to describe. Okay. So after this slide, I'm going to explain. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Is it okay? Yes. Okay. So average relative percentage error of a Bose voltage magnitude and average relative percentage error of a Bose voltage angle. So these are the three objective functions we have considered, and these three objective functions are conflicting with respect to each other. If you increase the cost, then accuracy will increase. No doubt accuracy will increase, but cost is increasing, which is I don't need that. I want to improve the accuracy, but at a reduced cost. Okay, so that is why the objectives are conflicting with respect to each other. So that is why in this case we are using very well established non-dominated sorting genetic algorithm concept, non-dominated sorting concept. Okay, and that non-dominated sorting algorithm concept will help you in establishing in finding the optimal solution of a multi-objective problem. Okay, and the critical condition is the objective must be conflicting in nature. Suppose you want to buy a car, more comfort you want, then you have to pay more. But I don't want. I don't want to pay more, but I want comfort. Okay, so this is an example of how the objectives are conflicting with respect to each other. So for that case, we are using the concept of non-dominated sorting concept, which is published by Professor Kalyad Moidev, one of the best article in this world, you can say, non-dominated sorting genetic algorithm 2. Okay, so that concept we have utilized here also for the better performance of the estimation purpose, for solving this optimization problem. Okay, when the objectives are conflicting with respect to each other. Okay, so for that purpose we are using those. So that is why this is a multi-objective optimization problem. So they are the mathematically, they are the three objective function we have considered. First one is your cost function. Cost function is described in this way. Your cost of a meter. Okay, how many meters you are placing, based on that total cost will be decided. And then your percentage of error associated with the voltage magnitude and percentage of error associated with the voltage angle. Okay, so and what subjected to what constant. Since this is the objective function, for any optimization problem you might have come across means what optimize, or what is the objective and what is the subjected to constant. What the constant, what it has to satisfy. The objective function has to satisfy what? So that is nothing but your constant. Okay, so in this case what we are what we have considered, the constant is for 95% of the simulated cases your relative. Suppose you are placing the meter. I came to know that by using this algorithm, this is the location of the meters in a system. So if this is the location of the meter you have got by using this optimization algorithm, then you have to justify that in 95% of the simulated cases, the estimation error should be less than 1% and 5%. The estimation error associated with voltage magnitude, relative percentage error associated with the voltage magnitude should be less than 1% in 95% of the simulated cases. Similarly, the relative percentage error in angle, bus voltage angle, should be less than 5% in 95% of the simulated cases. Simulated cases are nothing but the different situation of the power system, different scenario of the power system, different operating condition of the power system. Okay, so you need to check it throughout all kinds of situation by considering whether where I have located the meter, whether it is fitting to all the situation or not. So if it is satisfying for that, then only I can accept that location. Okay, so this is the constant we have used in this optimization algorithm, and they are the three objective functions. Okay, so now I think all of you understood now what is the object, what is the problem formulation, how we have formulated the problem mathematically. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about, since we established the optimization problem, so I treated my problem as an optimization problem, and also I considered it as a multi-objective optimization problem, and also I'm saying that the objectives are conflicting with respect to each other, conflicting in nature. Okay, so now for that, so since this is an optimization problem, so we can use various kinds of efficient optimization algorithms are readily available in the field of research. Okay, you can use genetic algorithm, you can go for PSO, you can go for several evolutionary algorithms, swarm intelligence algorithms. Okay, based on swarm, those who are mimicking the behavior of the nature. Okay, because you see, all the algorithms, what we are optimization algorithms which are readily available, all these algorithms we have studied. These algorithms are developed by studying the nature. These are all, that is why these are all nature based optimization algorithms. Means We are observing what is happening in nature, and based on the how it is acting, how it is behaving, how it is doing. So that is formulated in terms of mathematics in a very systematic way. Okay, so that is why this is called a algorithm, because there are some certain steps are there, a systematic steps are there. So due to which we are calling it as a algorithm. Okay, and optimization algorithm, why? Because they are able to find out the optimal solution, the solutions which is impossible to solve by a human being manually, so that can be solved by using this optimization algorithm. So that is the crazy about this optimization technique, why people are running behind the optimization technique. Even I can say life is impossible without optimization technique, because for our day-to-day life, for day-to-day application, for day-to-day life, every time we are using optimization technique in our life to find out the solution. So that's why I'm saying that life is impossible without optimization technique. Okay, and life is beautiful with optimization technique. Okay, so that's why what in this work what you have done. So we have used particle swarm optimization algorithm, particle swarm optimization algorithm. Okay, and this is a population based optimization algorithm, and basically this mimic the behavior of the flocking of birds. When the birds are flying in searching for the food in the space, okay, how they are moving, how they are changing their position, how they are changing their velocities, at what speed they have to move, how they are deciding. Okay, so based on that, Kennedy, I think the person who developed this algorithm, okay, he studied the characteristics of the this in the swarm particle or birds, flocking of birds, when they are searching for the food, when they are moving, they are changing their position in a very systematic way. They are not changing, they are not flying just like that, they are not flying randomly. So they are following a suitable path, and they are in between, they are sharing the information between themselves, and so that with a very less time, with a very less traveling distance, they can reach at the destination or at the food center where the food is. Okay, so that's why it becomes a optimization algorithm. Okay, so it mimics the behavior of a bird flocking in searching for food in particular area. Okay, and while searching for the food, and these birds are communicating with respect to each other, with each other, so that they can easily find out where they have to move. Okay, and in this case, you see, among the group, someone will be the best one, and some other have to follow him. Okay, and there is no guarantee that that person before reaching to the destination, that person is the always he will be the best. No, the best will also change. Suppose, for example, in a classroom, how the group of students will be there, and who is the topper, he is the best for that semester. But there is no guarantee that he will be the topper for the next semester. Someone else will be there. So people have to follow them. Who is the topper here? All have to follow. All the students have to follow him. That how he is able to get highest mark. Okay. The same concept. If you simulate that how the birds are changing their position and velocity based on what, how they are deciding their velocity, and they are following to whom. So they are what happening here. The velocity of each particle is updated based on the current based position of the particle in the search space. Particle is nothing but your birds. Okay, swarm birds. Okay, each bird is a particle in the group. So that's why this is a population based algorithm. Okay, and means what? Here the velocity of each particle is updated based on the current position of the particle in the search space. What is the current position of each particle? Based on that also velocity is updated, and also individual particle knows its best position. What is the best position of each particle till now? They know it. Okay, and who is the best in the group? Also they know it. So based on the best person in the group, and also based on their own best, they are changing their position and velocity, and obviously you will get best result. Obviously, no doubt. Okay, there is no question that you will get worst result, because we are following the right path. Who is the best? We are following him. What is my best? I am following it. Then obviously I will get the best solution. Okay, so that is the main theory behind this PSO algorithm. Okay, and each particle modified its position using the following information: the distance between the p best and the current position of the particle. Okay, p best of individual and the current position of the particle and the p best. Okay, and the distance between the g best and the current position of the particle. What is the current position of the particle and what is the g best? Who is the best? Global best. G best means global best. Globally, who is the best at current iteration? Okay, and distance between the p best and the current position of the particle. What was its best value in the previous iterations, and what is its current value? So based on that also it is changing its position, and also based on the who is the current best of the particle among the particle and what is its current position. So based on that also they are deciding to update their position and velocity. Okay, and which is nothing but the idea behind the PSO algorithm. Okay, so mathematically it is written the general mathematical equation for PSO algorithm, how the velocity for iteration. Okay, for suppose t plus 1th iteration, what will be the velocity of ith particle? So which is nothing but your w is nothing but the weight. Okay, and into velocity, previous velocity of that particle. Okay, so plus c1, and c1 is nothing but the acceleration constant. Okay, a rand function, a random which is distributed normally, so that function we are using into p best minus x of t. X of t is your particle, ith particle position, and this is its best position, plus c2 into rand into g best minus xit. G best is the global best in the current iteration. Who is the global best up till now? Okay, and x of t is the current position of the ith particle. So this is the mathematical expression of the velocity function. So if you see, if you closely look into this equation, mathematical equation, so you will observe that you see your solution, the velocity of the particle is guided by its own personal best and also the global best. So there is less chance of there is a less chance that you will be diverted from the good solution. Okay, so there is a more chances are that you will be heading towards the best solution, because this p best and g best will guide the solution. Okay, okay, so that's why, and this is called cognitive and social parts of the function. Okay, and w is the weight, that means how much weightage you are giving to the previous value. Okay, and for that actually one formula is there through which we can decide what will be the weight, what is the minimum weight, what is the maximum weight, and basically it is varying from 0.4 to 0.9. Okay, so minimum and minus that one for weight, one deciding formula we are using. And sometimes researchers, they are doing various kinds of fuzzy information technique they are using also to control this weight also. Okay, so then that is the importance of the weight. That means how much weightage you are providing to the historical value. Okay, previous history, and rest of the equations I think you understood. Okay, and finally we are updating the position, because in physics x equals to vt. Okay, so position equals to old position plus new updated position. Time we have taken unit time, x equals to velocity into time unit time you have taken. So that's why position plus velocity at t plus 1th iteration. T represents your number of iteration. Okay, at a t plus 1th iteration, next iteration we have the data at the tth iteration, so we are calculating for t plus 1th iteration. Okay, so we are in this way we are updating the position of the particle. Okay, so this is this much idea I provided for the PSO algorithm, and if you want more you can go through some papers through which you will get a little more idea about what is this particle swarm optimization algorithm. And basically in this algorithm there are the two functions which are there, how we are able to change the position of the velocity and position of a particle, so that we can reach at the global solution. Okay, yes sir. Hello, yes sir, please.
Sir, is it an accurate method? I mean, is it approximation method or a purely accurate method? Like some other
approximation
analytical
mane
method.
these are all approximate solution. You won't get the actual best position how you used to get in by using the mathematical equation. You will get approximate. You can approach to that actual
So
value, but you may not get the actual value. Okay, so you will get the best.
means we can achieve maximum
Yeah,
accuracy. Sir,
sorry.
is it possible to? I mean, suppose we are solving the same equation at the same time, but at the next instant we are solving the same equation, and the answer will be different.
Yes, obviously. You see, these are all randomization, random technique. Means what? Since randomly we are generating the solution, some steps are there. Steps are there for the PT. You see, you see here a rand function is used here, random function, because which is
Yes, sir.
helping
Yes, sir.
us, which is helping us in generating the what solutions. Okay. So since it is a rand function, obviously
Sir,
you will not get the always you will not get the same result. Okay. So
rand function means here,
uh,
sir.
anything? Yes.
Sir, rand function means if I'm like that. Suppose we have tabulated. So randomly it will select some datas from our list, and according to that it will calculate the equation.
Yes. You
Am
see,
I right, sir?
you can see the mathematical equation in which a rand
Hmm.
function is there. P based positions you are changing in a network. Suppose I want to find the location of the meter. That location based on the location. Suppose this is the location. 5, 8, 9, 10. So these are the location of the measuring devices. So now based on that
Okay,
you
sir.
are also multiplying this one a rand function. So obviously this will be changing, and rand is a computer based value. Yes or no? So every time it won't give you the same value.
Yeah, yes,
So
yes.
that is why you can get the
Sir.
result approximate that final value, but you may not get always when we will run that same value. But that is why we are using several times we are running the optimization algorithm to reach at a global solution. We are observing. So now I run, what is the result? Now again I will run, again I will run, 30 times I will run. So where we are I am approaching.
Means
Okay, yeah.
sir, means it is something like a trial and error
Yes,
method.
yes. But the chances are there that you will get best good solution. More chances are there. Chances are there that you will get good solution, because these algorithms are
Better
more
than an
efficient
article, sir.
algorithms. Huh?
Better than an article, na, sir?
Analytical, you see, analytical algorithm which will give you the accurate result, but analytical methods are failing here. Analytical methods are failing in finding
That's
in solving this complex optimization algorithm, complex nonlinear optimization algorithm. They are failing in finding these things. Okay, so that is why we are heading towards this kind of optimization algorithm. We are heading towards the optimization algorithm, meta heuristic technique, to find out nearly optimal solution. Here also I'm not
now I
giving you the
understood,
guarantee
sir.
that we will find the final solution. Are you getting?
I understood, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Nice, so sure.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So next I am going to introduce about this Creel-Hod algorithm, and then I will introduce why we are merging these two algorithms. Okay. And it is Creel-Hod algorithm. It is also a very efficient algorithm. It is exploring the search space. Okay, and it is proposed by Grandomi and Alavi in the year 2012. Okay, and it is a bio-inspired swarm intelligence algorithm. Okay, and it is basically based on the hoarding behavior of the krill swarm. Actually, in the sea, which Antarctic Sea, you will find the krill particles, and they are also following a systematic approach in searching for the food in the sea. Okay, and this person, this professor who investigate their movement and developed an optimization algorithm which is called Creel-Hod algorithm. Okay, and various kinds of they are moving these particles, the fitness, the means based on the hoarding behavior of the krill swarms. They are creating some noise, hoarding behavior. Okay, in searching for the food in the nature. And the fitness of each krill depends upon its distance from the food position and the density of the krill particle. If the density is more, that means you will be sure that you are approaching towards the final solution. Okay, so if your density is more and the distance of the food position is reducing, then you are approaching towards the destination. Okay, so that's why the movement of the krill particle is formulated in terms of induced movement of the krill particles, foraging motion, random diffusion. Okay, that move, the movement of the krill particles is described in terms of three functions. One is induced movement of the krill particles, foraging motion, and a random diffusion. So what are they? So and then and that movement is expressed in terms of a Lagrangian model in an n-dimensional decision space. Okay, where it is written dLi by dt is equals to mi fi di, mi plus fi plus di of each particle, induced motion, random diffusion, and foraging motion. Okay, so addition of these three will give you the position of each particle. Okay, and the direction of motion of induced particle, direction of motion induced depends on three effects: local effect, target effect, and a repulsive effect. Okay, so local effect means what? When the particles are neighboring to each other, so because of them, some displacement will happen. Okay, and it is written as you can see below the mathematical expressions I've written how to explain the induced motion. Okay, how to explain the foraging motion, how to explain the random diffusion. Okay, so basically this induced motion and foraging motion, which depends upon the food location. The position of the particle is changing based on the food location. The position of the particle is changing based on the neighbor particle. The particle which are surrounded by other particle, their effect is also producing on that person, and because of which its position is changing. Okay, and similarly random diffusion. Okay, so these three movement of the particle helping us to bridge or to establish a balance between the exploration and exploitation capability of the algorithm. And you know, all of you know that exploration and exploitation are the two important components of every meta-heuristic algorithm. So any meta-heuristic algorithm, even you go for a PSO, you go for genetic algorithm, you go for Creel-Hod algorithm, any optimization algorithm, you will see that some part of the algorithm will take care the exploration of the algorithm. It will explore the search space more efficiently, and those mathematical things will help you in exploring the search space, and some mathematical expressions in the algorithm which will help you in exploiting the search space. So exploration or diversification, exploitation or intensification. Okay, so these are the two important words or two important component of each meta-heuristic technique. Okay, so maybe in most of the cases it is observed that most of the algorithms are not efficient in both the cases. You won't find a balance between the exploration and exploitation of a optimization algorithm. So you will find that some algorithms which are more efficient in exploring the search space, they are efficiently they will explore where the search space is, where the optimal solution in which area it is existing, but they are unable to find out what is that optimization solution. That is called, it is efficiently explored the search space, but it is poorly exploiting the search space. Exploiting means what? To find out, exploiting it is a process to find out the global optimal solution near the local optimal solution. When you are reaching at the local optimal solution, you need to search there itself to find the global optimal solution. So how much efficiently you are searching near to that point, you are digging that point, that limited point, limited area to find the global optimal solution. That is nothing but the exploiting the search space. Exploitation. Exploration means how efficiently you are exploring the whole search space, how efficiently. It's not that you will search each and every point of the search space. If you are searching each and every point of the search space, then you are poorly you are handling the search space. Poorly you are exploring the search space. That is called poorly you are exploring the search space. So because I do not have that much time to search each and every point of the search space, because it depends upon your technique, how efficiently it is directly following the actual area, it is reaching that actual area. Okay, so that is why for any optimization algorithm, this exploration or diversification, exploitation or intensification, these two components, how much balance they have between themselves. whether they are balanced or not. If there is a unbalance between them, then your optimization algorithm will show you efficient performance in exploring the search space, but some algorithm, they are very expert in finding, very efficient in finding the in doing the exploitation, but they are poorly they are searching exploring the exploring the search space, so which is also a problem. So that is why we need to have a greater balance between these two components. Okay, so and also so this is the important idea I given for any optimization algorithm. And these are the mathematical expressions what I have written. You see that how the local effect is counted for the Creel-Hodder algorithm, what I've told just now, by measuring the distance between the Creel particle. Okay, so for measuring the distance, formulas are there. How we have written xij is equals to xj minus xi divided by xj minus xi plus epsilon. Suppose if this value is less than for a particular value, constant value, then we can say that these two particles are neighbor to each other. Okay, and similarly fitness value, how to calculate kij equals to ki minus kj divided by k worst minus k best. K worst means what? The worst value of that particle in that iteration for that current position. Okay, similarly what is the best value, what is the best it has achieved till now. Okay, so when you are calculating the fitness value for the ith and jth Creel particle, so in this way you have to find out. Okay, and different kinds of, already I have told you, different kinds of effects are produced: local effect, target effect. Okay, so how to calculate those kind of effects. Okay, that if you follow a paper, so where you will get the clear-cut idea, for this about this optimization algorithm, all the expressions and all, how we are able to update their positions, and what are the certain things we are writing. So mathematically I have written overally here. Okay, so please go through it, you will get definitely. Okay, and these are the movement process in KH algorithm, how mathematically how it is expressed. So LIT plus del t is equals to LI of t plus del t dLi by dt. So dLi by dt we got it, then we are multiplying it with a fraction of time plus its previous position, so it will give you the updated position. Okay, and also how in case of a genetic algorithm we are using the different kinds of operator. Okay, so similarly here also we are using two operators, which is called crossover operator and mutation operator, to change their position for better for better solution. Okay, it is nothing but how we are updating the solution, mathematically it is expressed. Okay, so need of hybridization, as I already said, that two important things are there: exploration and exploitation of each algorithm. They are the two important components. So if you do not have the balance between these two components, then you should have the balance between these two. So what you have to do so that you can have some balance between these two components. Okay, so it is observed that, it is investigated that Creel-Hodder algorithm has capability to find the global regions in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, it has the capability to reach at the global regions. Okay, but it is not efficient in performing the local searches. That means it is poor in exploiting the search space. Exploitation capability is very poor, but exploration is good. Okay, and therefore the KH algorithm is hybridized with the PSO to get a near global optimal solution. This is the reason why we are hybridizing these two algorithms. So people are searching, people are doing research in finding who is stronger in what part of the algorithm. That means this particular algorithm is more efficient in performing the exploration or exploitation. If it is more stronger in exploration, then search for another algorithm who is efficient in exploitation, so that you can merge these two, so that you can have a balance between the exploration and exploitation of the algorithm, so that you will get the best solution. Okay, so this is the reason why I merged these two algorithms, and why you have to justify. How can I say that it has the capability to find the global regions? How can I say? Just like that I cannot say, because it is observed that, it is investigated that the movement of the particle, the way they are moving. Okay, so that justifying how efficiently they are moving. That is why three different motions of a movement I have described. Okay, induced motion, foraging motion, and diffusion movement. those three movement are so efficiently it is designed that they are handling this exploration part more efficient way. Okay, but poorly they are finding the exploitation. So that is why we are hybridizing this Kirill Hada algorithm with the PSO algorithm, so that we can improve the better solution, we can achieve better solution. Okay, so these things I have explained in this case. So how the PSO, sometimes PSO, the drawback of the PSO algorithm is what? It will sometimes it will get stuck at the local optimal solution. Okay, it is poorly explore the whole search space, but that person is efficient in exploring the source space more efficiently. So that is the reason why we are hybridizing these two algorithms. Okay, so then again, since little few more things are there, so I have to go faster. So non-dominated sorting algorithm we have used. So as I said earlier in the beginning of the presentation, my presentation, that the three objectives what I have considered, those objectives are conflicting in nature. So for a conflicting nature of objective functions can be solved to have a trade-off solution between the different objective function. Okay, so we are using non-dominated sorting technique. Okay, that means all that means non-dominated solution, how you will justify? Suppose 20 solutions are with you, how will you say that which solution is dominating to which one? Okay, so these are the criteria. The solution S1 is better than S2 in all the objective if the solution S1 is better than S2 in all the objective function, in three objective function, then we can say that S1 is dominating the S2. And the solution S1 is strictly better than S2 at least in one objective. At least in one objective it has to be better than S2, then we can say that S1 is dominating S2. Okay, the reverse is also true. Then crowding distance operator. So you see, in case of a non-dominated sorting approach, so we are getting many Pareto fronts. While these are all iterative approach, optimization algorithms, step-by-step procedure we are following in finding the solution. So since this is a iterative approach, so that is why what will happen in non-dominated sorting approach, you will get a different Pareto of solution, Pareto fronts. You will get a different Pareto fronts. So each Pareto front means what? All the solutions. Suppose you have started the program to solve by using 20 solutions. You are starting the how you see the fundamental things, you know how to solve a optimization algorithm. So you have to initialize the variable and you have to collect the basic data. Okay, initialize the variables, then you have to update it in every iteration, then you have to satisfy the convergence criteria. Okay, so now what will happen when you are solving for the 20 solutions, because at a time every time you will get 20 best solution every iteration, understood? But those solutions will be divided into number of fronts. For example, suppose in the first front, which is closer to the origin in a XY plane, which will be closer to the origin, it is carrying suppose 5 solutions. In the second front, suppose 10 solutions are there. Third front, 3 solutions are there. Then the fourth front, suppose rest of the solutions are there. So total solutions will be 20 solutions. So since the solutions which are there in the first front, those solutions are dominating the rest of the solutions which are there in the second, third, fourth, like that. The solutions which are there in the second front, it is dominating the solutions which are there in the third, fourth, fifth, like that. So like that it will continue. Okay, so what we are trying, what this optimization algorithm will do, it will try to bring all the solution into single front, to the first front only. So what we will say, now all the solutions what you will get at the end of the convergence of the algorithm, all are best, all the solutions are good, but the customer has to choose which is suitable for him. That is the concept behind this Pareto concept. Understood? I think all of you understood. Okay, so that means so while doing this process, you will observe that at some part of the Pareto front, suppose a single front is generated and one front only, all the solutions are there. Sometimes what will happen, most of the solutions out of the total population will reside in a single area at one part of the front, and other part will be remain vacant. So that kind of solution I do not want. So sometimes these things, all this type of solution will also, if suppose all the solution will reach at the same point, then what is the use of using this conflicting nature characteristics of the optimization algorithm? Understood? So that is why we are using a operator called crowding distance operator. And what is its function? It is used to find the density of solutions that are surrounding a particular solution. Okay, so the solution should not be more dense at a position. So all should be placed uniformly with equally spaced, okay, in the front, so that I can select anyone I want. Okay. Then ranking of the solution also we are doing. Rank of solution has to be smaller than the solutions. Okay, S2. Then only I can say that S1 is better than S2. Okay. Both solution belongs to the same front. As I said, all the solution have finally all the solution have to come to first front. Then only I can say that all the solutions are good solution. But out of which you have to select which one is best. Okay. So this is the theory behind this crowding distance operator. And then since I told you all the solutions are the best solution in the final front, so that's why sometimes you can choose by yourself, based on your requirement. You can choose based on your plant requirement. You can choose which one you want to take, because all are good. But sometimes you are using some mathematical expression to find out which one is best. So these are the two it is called a fuzzy based theory. We are using fuzzy based theory in finding the best compromised solution. So they are the two optimal mathematical functions we are using. So mathematically how it is a membership value of a objective function. Linear membership function is used to calculate the membership function of each objective function. Okay, what is the membership value of each objective function? That we need to find out here by using this mathematical optimization. So this is not a difficult thing. You can understand things if you go through this. Okay. This is commonly used. And this is the pseudo code we are using. This is the code I have used. This is the means what the steps. Okay, algorithm step. First we have to initialize all the parameters value of the algorithm. Okay, and then we have to calculate randomly. We have to place the different kind of meters. In this case, I have considered power flow meters and voltage magnitude meter. Okay, and this each meters are nothing but the Creel particle. See, you have to simulate your algorithm with the system, with the test system, power system. In power system, what is my objective? I have to place the meter. Then this meter represents what? Particle, Creel particle. I'm changing the position of the Creel particle. That means I'm changing the position of the meter. Yes or no? So that is why these particles are these meters are used as a particle. Okay, how I am changing the particle, how PSO is changing its position, how particles are changing their position. Then each particle I am treating it as a meter. Okay, each particle position is nothing but the meter location in the distribution system. Okay, so in this case I have used power flow meters, and then by using this weighting approach I'm using to find out the objective function value, and then I'm ranking the population. Okay, based on the non-dominated sorting technique, you have to rank it. Okay, and then sort the population according to their fitness value and calculate the best and worst fitness value among the population based solution. You have to find out which one is best, which one is worst. Okay, because those two things are needed in finding the other parameters of the algorithm. Okay, so that is why these two things are important. You have to find it out. Then at the third step, I'm using PSO algorithm to update the position of the Creel particle. To update the position of the Creel particle, here I'm using the PSO algorithm. Okay, in third step. So then after updating by using PSO, then I'm using Creel-Hod algorithm to find out the different kinds of movement motions of the particle. You see how we are able to merge these two algorithms and where I have merged these two algorithms. Okay, and then again I'm updating the position of the Creel particle in the source space, and by using different kinds of operators which are there in the Creel-Hod algorithm, I'm using for better tuning of the solution. Okay, and then again I'm evaluating the objective functions, and based on that I'm sorting. Okay, and then we are calculating the current best and worst Creel. Okay, so this process will continue several times till your constant equation will be satisfied. You know what is the constant I have considered in the beginning of the program. Okay, and to finally when the algorithm will converge, and then to find out the best solution among all. So it depends on you, or else you can use fuzzy theory to find out the best compromised solution. Okay, and there are the test and simulation conditions we have considered. Okay, so as in this case, we are using branch current based distribution system state estimation algorithm, and different kinds of measurements we are using. For example, your substation measurements and real measurements, pseudo measurements, virtual measurements. Okay, Pseudo measurement, virtual measurements are the measurements which are virtually present, which are not present, but we are assuming that there is a meter at that point. And basically these are present at the zero injection buses. And all of you know what is a zero injection buses. So zero injection bus is a bus where there is no source, no load will be there. Okay, it is of no use. For only extension purpose, we are using a zero injection buses in the system. Okay, so there also we are assuming that a meter is there virtually. Okay, so its accuracy of measurement is very high, highly accurate. Virtual measurements are. Pseudo measurements are worst measurement, highly contaminated with the noise. Real measurements are the accurate measuring devices, and similarly substation measurements are also accurate measurement devices. Okay, and these are the mathematical equations I've written to model the noise associated with each measurements. Okay, sigma we are calculating the standard deviation, and how to calculate the mean value of the value into percentage, how much percentage of error you want to add. Suppose you are considering that this meter is 3% error, maximum percentage of error associated with this measuring device is 3%. Suppose, then you have to multiply here 3% divided by 3 into 100. It will give you what is the standard deviation for that measurement. Then we can calculate what is the measurement by using simulation. Okay, this way we are creating the measurements because we are simulating this work. To simulate, we are not taking the measurements from the grid. We are generating the measurements by utilizing this MATLAB software. So you have to mathematically express these things. Okay, so there are the different kinds of, because for each measurement, as I said, you have to define the noise associated with it, how much maximum percentage of noise associated with it. So for substation measurement, physically it is practically it is seen that 1% maximum 1% error is associated with the substation measurement, and for real measurement 1%, 3%, 5%, you can go up to 5%, not more than that is not allowed. Pseudo measurements you can go up to 50%. You can see by seeing the reading, you can see who is most worst kind of measurement. Okay, and virtual measurements are very accurate, very low errors are associated with the virtual measurements. Okay, so for as I said that to test if your optimization algorithm is giving your solution, then you need to test it for various operating scenario. For that, I'm using Monte Carlo simulation technique to generate various kinds of operating scenario in a power system to test our the efficiency of the of our proposed method, the proposed algorithm. Okay, and for that there the specification I've given. Number of Monte Carlo trials I have taken 1,000, and number of operating condition I have taken 100. Can you imagine how many number of operating scenario I have considered in this case? Okay, so these are all planning study. So you can take how much time you want to take for the planning study. It is not a problem for us. So once you have installed, that is final. So then you can go for the real-time monitoring. So these are all planning study. Okay, so before installing, we are doing the planning study. So after getting the final solution, then we are going to install the meters at different parts of the network. Okay. So they are the parameters value for KHA, PSO, and SGA2, different parameters of the different algorithms we have considered, and they are the and also we placed the DG and checking the results. Okay, so this is tested for IEEE 69 bus system where 69 buses are there, and for 12.66 kV radial distribution network we have considered where 69 buses are there, and 2 DGs are there, 2 renewable sources, which values I have mentioned just now, and it has 21 number of zero injection buses. Okay, and total system capacity is 3.802 megawatt and 2.692 megavar respectively. So you see, this is the result I got, a compromised solution I got by using different algorithm, by using proposed algorithm PSO KH, KH, PSO, and NSGA2. Okay, so these are the different fronts front we got. You see, these are called Pareto fronts, and the front which is closer to the origin, that is giving the best solution. Okay, and our algorithm, proposed algorithm PSO KH, is giving the best among all the algorithms which are used in this optimization technique. Okay, so so the other plots between different objectives, number of power flow meters, how many power flow meters are required, and objective function F3. 3 objectives are there. Similarly, number of flow meters and F2. Okay, this is the cost. In y-axis, I have taken the cost, and the x-axis your objective 3 and 2. And you see, in all the cases, it is the fronts are coming which are closer to the origin is the best solution. Okay, and out of which you can select which one is the best one. Okay. So there are the results. Here also you can see for 69 bus system. When the little I increase the real time, the error associated with real time measurements to little more. Previously I used 1%, now I am using 3% error. So that is why these are the for 3% case also. See, these are the for all the cases our proposed method is dominating the existing method. So this represents the efficiency of our how efficient our method is. Okay, and this is for similarly 5% error, because for real time measurements we can go for the what three cases: 1%, 3%, and 5% metrological errors associated with measuring devices. 1%, 3%, 5%. For different kinds of scenario I have considered in this case. Okay, to justify my technique. Okay. So now this is the result in tabular form. You can see for 1% error proposed method, how many meters are needed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 meters are needed, and one substation measurement. So 6, total is 6. So what is the objective function 2 value? What is the objective function 3 value in per unit? All are in per unit. Okay. Similarly, other algorithms, how many meters and what are their locations? 1, 9, 1, 7, 24 means what? At branch numbers 1, at branch number 7, at 24, at 54, at 66. So I placed the power flow meters. Okay, and then this is the result I'm getting. What is the error associated with the voltage magnitude? This much. Error associated with the voltage angle? This much. Okay, so what is the maximum percentage of error associated with voltage magnitude? This much, which is shown to you. Minimum error, this much. Maximum error in voltage angle, this much. Minimum error, this much. Okay, so for all the algorithm, it is tested and placed here, and also I compared my results with some other algorithm also, which is existing in the literature. So it is seen that this algorithm is more efficiently in finding the optimal location of the measuring devices in a distribution system. Okay, for real-time monitoring of the system. So these are the when DGs are present, renewable sources are present. See, this one is without using the DG, but this tabulation we got when the two DGs are placed at two different point of the network. That means at bus number 50 and 61. That means now the system is active network. This is active network. That one is a passive network. So due to the renewable sources are present, various kinds of issues are arising in the distribution system. Okay, and in that situation also the proposed method is showing best result compared to other results. Okay, so that is why we are claiming that the proposed method is the best one. And similarly, it is the same thing has been tested with a large system, Indian 85 bus system, and the same here also it is tested that for both standard system and practical test system and IEEE standard system, and this proposed method is performing better than the other existing techniques what we are using in the literature. Okay. This is for large size system, Indian system, Indian 85 bus system. Okay, we have considered. So they are the different fronts which are coming by using in case of Indian 85 bus system, and all the case study also I have compared. This is in tabular form, the results you can see, and the proposed method is really giving better results than other cases. And sometimes you will observe that number of meters are coming same, but due to the different position of the meters by using other method also, so that's why accuracy is improving. That justifying the how this algorithm is doing efficiently. Okay, this is by using DG. And from this I published this article. This work has been published in IEEE Transactions on Instrumentation and Measurement in the year 2017. Okay, I published this work. And then again I want to, in a very shortly I will tell you, because same kind of work I have done, but little more new things I have added here. And time is very because actually 1 hour 30 minutes, so I exceeded.
Satyan sir.
Yes sir.
Sir, please wait, sir. So any queries regarding our questions?
Okay.
From participants.
Okay.
Any questions? Yes. Hello. Any questions and queries regarding this session? Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, please continue, sir.
Okay. Sir, how much time is left? Can you please tell me so that I can manage within that time? Hello.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. You are perfectly audible.
Okay.
Just 10 minutes, sir. You can continue to 5 to 10. 5 minutes.
Within 10, okay, okay,
Ah,
okay.
okay.
So this is our next objective I have considered, and that again that same the topic is trade-offs in PMU and IED deployment. Another kind of devices I have considered in this objective, in this optimization in this meter placement technique, and two recent advanced measuring devices we have considered in this problem, and which is nothing but your PMU and IED. Both are costly equipment. So we need to find out the trade-off between the how many IED and how many PMU we have to install in a distribution system, so that we can more accurately we can estimate the states, and as well as we can minimize the cost. So for that, these are the three objective functions we have considered: total cost of a PMUs, total cost of IED, and RMS value of state estimation error. There are the three. Cost of a PMU we are decreasing, cost of IED we are decreasing, and RMS value of state estimation error. Okay, and so in this case we have the measurements which are getting through PMU and IED. These things are included in the covariance matrix. Okay, so this is the mathematical expressions. So if you go through, then you can understand. So already I explained what is this gain matrix and all, what is this covariance matrix, and if you go through the mathematical expression, you can understand how these things have been presented. Okay, so this is the mathematical formulation of the problem. Two are the cost functions, and one is the error, state estimation error, RMS value state estimation error, third objective. Okay, so and subjected to the same constant already we have discussed, and in this case we are using one efficient algorithm which is called estimation of distribution algorithm. Okay, so it is also mimicking the property of the genetic algorithm, but the only difference between the genetic algorithm and estimation of distribution algorithm is that it is also based on the principle of evolution. How genetic algorithm is working based on the principle of evolution, the same like your EDA is working. But here we are using a probabilistic model in EDA algorithm, estimation of distribution algorithm. We are using a probabilistic model to generate new individual solutions based on the history, previous solutions. Based on the the new individuals are generated without using crossover and mutation operator. How this is used in case of a genetic algorithm. Okay, a probability model is estimated in order to sample the new individual solution from the database containing previous generation data and some selected population. From the previous, what was the solution, you got it by using this algorithm, and plus what are some selected solution out of the population of solution, who are the most selected people, who are the good solution. So based on that, this probabilistic model is generating the new solution for the next iteration based on these two data. Okay, by using a probabilistic model. Okay, and it is investigated that this algorithm is more efficient in exploring the search space because of this probabilistic model. Okay, and but poorly it is exploiting the search space. That is the drawback of this algorithm. So that is why again we are hybridizing this algorithm with the interior point algorithm, which is a mathematical optimization algorithm. Okay, and which is very efficient in performing the exploitation capability, which has more efficient in exploiting the search space. So that is why again I hybridize these two algorithms to get a better optimal solution. Okay, and these are the pseudocode. The steps are same. Okay, how we used in case of a that PS2KH algorithm. The same thing in this case also. First we started with the EDA algorithm, then we have updated the solution by using IPM algorithm, interior point algorithm, and then again we are updating the solution to reach at the global optimal solution. Okay, and the concept non-dominated sorting concept also we are using in this case. Okay. So this is the steps of the algorithms, and simulating conditions are same for that case and this case also. Okay. And it is tested for IEEE 69 bus system, and these are the results we got it. So you can see the proposed method EDA IPM algorithm is performing better than EDA simulated algorithm and EDA algorithm and NSGA2 algorithm. Okay, so these are the fronts. You can see how the fronts are looking, which are closer to the origin. Our proposed algorithm is much more closer to the origin, and which performing the better than the other algorithm. Okay, so between the different objectives, you can see how the fronts are looking. They are the different fronts by considering different scenario, different situations. Okay, by considering 1% error, the real measurements 3% and 5% error. Okay, and this is in tabular form I have shown to you how many meters are needed and where it is needed, and how many PMUs are needed, how many IDs are needed, intelligent electronic devices are needed in a 69 bus system, and what is the objective function value J1, J2, and J3, and how it is better than other. It is completely shown to you in this step. Okay. So this paper also, this work I have published in IEEE Transactions on Instrumentation and Measurement in the year 2018. Okay, that is trade-offs in PMU and IED deployment for active distribution state estimation using multi-objective evolutionary algorithm. So these are the summary of the presentation. That means we have used two multi-objective hybrid optimization algorithm for the determination of the position of the measuring devices such as power flow meters, PMUs, and IEDs in a distribution system. And a trade-off solution is established between the different objective functions where we have considered basically cost and the estimation error. Okay, and the impact of DG also investigated in this work. Okay, how the DG positions location also affecting the solutions, and these are tested in IEEE 69 and 85 bus system. Okay, and also the results what we have got using the proposed technique has been compared with other existing methods, and it is investigated that it is concluded that the proposed algorithm is more reliable under different operating scenario and robust with respect to different meteorological characteristics of the devices and load variations. Okay, so therefore this approach can be used for the planning study of the smart distribution network. So you can go through these references. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, for this nice session.
So you can ask some questions. Thank you so much.
Yes, if any participants are requested to ask any question on the
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Any?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes,
Good
yes,
evening.
ma'am. Yes.
Sir, I am from basically computer background.
Yes,
So we use medical aspects. We use the PSA algorithm.
Yes,
How we can use the Krill-Herd algorithm also? Same like we can use in our medical applications.
Sir, basically, no, can you please tell me in brief your question for medical application? How can you use this Krill-Herd algorithm? Are you asking that?
Yes, yes, sir.
So
Yes.
see, for any for any branch of engineering, for any branch of science, any field of science, you can utilize these kind of optimization algorithm. So, but the question is, how you are formulating your objective function and what are the objective function. First, you need to see what are the objective function, okay, and what are the constant. So, before going to implement any optimization algorithm, so first of all, you have to design your optimization problem. You have to design your problem as an optimization algorithm. Then you need to see that in your optimization problem, which one is the in your problem, in your system, which one is the variable. For example, in my problem, variable is what? Now position of the measuring devices. Where I should locate the measuring devices and how many measuring devices and where I have to locate so that I can improve the accuracy level. So that is my variable. So similarly, in your medical application, what is your variable? First of all, you want to see which one is affecting your solution, which one is the variable. For example, in our case, estimation error. Estimation error was greatly affecting the estimation quality estimation and cost also, and total number of meters also affecting the cost. But I have to reduce that one. So that's why these are the variables, the position of the meter and also number of meters. These are the variables for me. So that is why for any application, for any field of engineering or science, so you need to first formulate the problem. You need to design the optimization problem, and you have to say that these are my variables. This one I want to find the solution for these things. These are changing their positions. These are changing in nature. So I have to find out the suitable value of this. So that becomes the variable, and you have to simulate this Krill particle nature with your variable. You have to assume that your variables are the Krill particles. Then you simulate based on that. You change your position and velocity and all. You will get the solution. Definitely. But for that you need to understand your problem first. You have to design the problem first. Okay. I think.
Sir,
Yes.
again, one problem, one question, sir. You are
Yes.
implemented in which platform, sir?
I'm using is, MATLAB simulation. MATLAB simulation coding based. So I have written the code for the reload algorithm and written the code for all the whole work. Okay, then I simulated these two, and I am able to find the solutions. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. So, actually, I am working in CKD. So,
Yes.
we are taking the features extraction by using the PSO. After that, we are finding the accuracy, how much it is there.
Yes,
So,
sir.
same way, whatever you just now told, the number of measurements or
Yes.
measures,
Yes, yes, yes. The
similar.
same way also you can do it by using the PSO, by using the Creel algorithm. Okay, but you need to means what? You have to very closely. You have to go through in details about the Creel algorithm. First of all, you have to understand what is this algorithm. What are the variables? What things are changing here? What is the solution? How the Creel particles are generated, and what is your problem? So that you can have some simulation between these two. Okay. So
This
first you need to
is
understand it.
available or you are implemented this complete algorithm?
No, this algorithm I have implemented. This
Oh,
proposed algorithm I have developed. This hybridization I have developed. But individual algorithms are readily available. In it is developed by someone else. I have already mentioned the name who developed this PSO and
yes, yes.
Greenhouse. But I am utilizing and I'm bringing the further improvement in these two algorithms. So that is
Okay.
why I hybridized these two. Okay.
If any query, I will mail you, sir. So
Yes, yes,
please.
yes. Yes. You can use my mail ID and the detailed contact information, and at any time you are welcome to have some discussion.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Then,
you.
sir, one question from sir. Sir,
Yes.
can you share some reference book names so that participants will record about the PSO or distribution state estimation?
Any books you are saying?
Books. Sir, any reference book those will get the fundamental knowledge about the things.
So you see, for particle swarm optimization, various papers are available in. You can go to IEEE Explore and all. You will see because now you see now also people are not using the traditional PSO algorithm.
Yes, sir. Yes.
PSO algorithm has been modified to a great extent.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sir.
that is
Yes.
why there is no certain book where it will be there. That's why I'll suggest you better you go and search some recent papers and who are using PSO algorithm in what way they are using. So PSO algorithm concept definitely they will explore in details there. So it will help you. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
any queries regarding this? Participants? Yes. Okay. Okay. If there are no queries, so we close the session. Okay. Thank you all participants. In the closing session of the STTP, it is my privilege to show gratitude to all of your successful completion of this event. I would like to thank respected Rajiv Kumar, our chairman, sir, and Sandeep Arora, our respected chancellor, sir, for giving me permission for this program. I would like to express my profound gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor R. Sridhar sir, Registrar Sandeep Gandhi sir, and Academic In Charge Rahul Mishra sir for their moral support and guidance. I would like to thank our HOD sir, Dr. Sunil Kumar, for his presence for the guidance in the event. I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to our honorable speakers, Dr. Sivaram Panigrahi and Dr. Sachidanand Prasad for facing the XTTP program. Thank you both for your informative to provoking address. I am happy to express board of thanks to all the faculties of electrical department who have made this event a grand success. And last but not the least, I thank all the participants who have participated in the event overwhelming and made it successful. Once again, I thank all for your coordinately cooperation. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, hello sir.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Sir, this is Gajendran from Karpuram College of Engineering, Coimbatore.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we unable to continue join the full session, sir. Can you share the recording videos for the future
Yes, sir.
reference?
Yes, sir. We'll share the recording videos and PPTs with the
Yes, sir.
participants. And please connected with our WhatsApp group. Are you in the WhatsApp group, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am in the WhatsApp group, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will share all the related documents in the WhatsApp group, or if possible, to mail to your respective mail address.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
So
sir. Thank
actually,
you.
yesterday I
Yes.
attended the full session.
Yes, sir.
Very
Yes, sir.
wonderful effort. Thank you
Okay,
for
sir.
the speakers also, sir.
Yes. Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, please send both session, yesterday and today's sessions.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Yes, ma'am. We will send both the sessions recordings and PPTs. Okay. Thank you.
This sir.
Hello.
Hello, this sir.
हाँ सर क्यों सर बोलिए. Yes, sir. What happened?
So can we leave the meeting now, sir?
Yes, sir. Wait, sir. I will stop. At first, I will stop recording.
Yes, sir. First of all, you just click
Uh,
on start recording.